San Francisco, how does a virologist decide to become an astronaut? Procrastination. 10 years ago, NASA astronaut Kate Rubins, Ph.D., was heading a lab at the Whitehead Institute of Biomedical Research. She knew she should be writing a grant application, but kept putting it off, and decided on a career change. She was going to leave her job as a virologist to apply to become an astronaut. "My colleagues said we've seen this movie, scientist who works on Ebola goes to the space station. That usually doesn't end very well," she said at the opening plenary session here. At the annual Week meeting, a joint conference of the Infectious Diseases Society of America, IDSA, the Pediatric Infectious Diseases Society, PIDS, the Society for Healthcare Epidemiology of America, SHE, and the HIV Medicine Association, HIVMA, Rubins talked about not only the scientific research but the first-hand research all the astronauts on the space station are performing through their experiences. Rubins pointed out the challenges of operating in what she characterized as a closed-loop environment on the space station, even outside the laboratory. "It's like you're sleeping in the lab. There's literally no way for astronauts to leave, so we have to be mindful that everything we do is in the closed-loop system forever," she said. Operating a laboratory in a space station comes with its own set of challenges. Rubins said that they try not to use shatterable materials and there are multiple layers of containment, meaning specimens are stored both in a plastic tube and a plastic bag. Rubins said that she hopes to examine the microbiome of the space station, but she thinks we may find a lot less diversity, because the space station lacks the normal environment of Earth. Not only is she missing her 2 dogs, but other things one might take for granted on solid ground, like soil. "Matt Damon grew potatoes on Mars, but we developed special nutrient packs to grow plants," she said, alluding to the hit film, The Martian. Questions that may emerge as they research the space station microbiome could include the changing dynamics associated with bringing in a new crew that could bring specific bugs with them. "Can we tie that to temporal events on board the space station?" Rubins said. In preparation for going into space, Rubins said the crew receives not only the standard vaccine schedule, but several vaccinations usually reserved for adults 65. A couple weeks prior to launch, the crew is quarantined. She characterized being sick in space as very interesting. "The space station has a physician astronaut on board, and everybody gets basic emergency care, including advanced cardiac life support. But to return to Earth only takes a few hours to stabilize and undock and get to definitive care," Rubins said. "This will change dramatically when the space station goes to Mars, or even the Moon. When you're talking about a 4 to 5 day return, that's a bit different," she said. "We will have to think about serious illness or injury in a different way when we can't bring a person back to the planet," Rubins said. In terms of infectious diseases in space, they prevent them from being transmitted via quarantine. But she said there has been a problem with slightly suppressed immunity in astronauts, with reactivated cases of shingles and herpes. "Is this slight immunosuppression something that gets worse over time, or is it a low-grade reaction to lots of changes in a person's circadian rhythm?" she said. In addition, she hopes to examine the potential influence of microgravity, fluids shifting around in various compartments, and the low-level effects of radiation, as well as the effect of 16 sunrises and sunsets per day on the circadian rhythm of the astronaut population. Rubins described this population as pretty captive, and it should enable researchers to follow this medically well-characterized group of people longitudinally. "There are all kinds of interesting stressors, and it's a complex problem to resolve how each stressor is contributing to the microbiome," she said. The 4th of October 2018, T 17 hours 30 minutes and 0 seconds 0400.